أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين محمد وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد والفرقان الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من يعظم شعائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب صدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني جميع سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر أحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين ولا أولاد الحسين ولا أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. The topic of discussion for tonight is Ziyarat Arbaeen. The topic itself is very vast, and the concepts which are embedded within Ziyarat Arbaeen are many. There are about 10 concepts which I will not be able to do justice if I try to do it in one session. The first concept in Ziyarat Arbaeen is the concept of the As-Salam upon Imam Hussein alayhi salam. However, before I start, I want to mention that every ziyarat of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam, ziyarat Rajabiyya, ziyarat Nima Sha'ban, ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam for the nights of Qadr, the ziyarah of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam for Arafat, each and every ziyarah of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam have a different measure of introduction to Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. And the ziyarat are slightly different from reading ahadith on Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. Ziyarat, the purpose of the ziyarat is that you recite salam, and the Imams alayhi salam within the ziyarat, they introduce certain position and certain maqamat of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam for the Zair who is visiting Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. So there is a universal or a generic message which the Imams alayhi salam have instructed the Zair to recite when they go for the ziyarat of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. And within Ziyarat Arbaeen, the same thing is happening. There is a certain criteria which the Imams alayhi salam would like every Zair to acknowledge when they go for the ziyarah of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. And in Ziyarat Arbaeen, there are certain names and titles which have been referred to Mawla Hussein alayhi salam, and the people who have perpetrated Karbala, they have been also been mentioned in Ziyarat Arbaeen. What they did and what they achieved in murdering Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. So there are many things in Ziyarat Arbaeen which we need to cover. And within Ziyarat Arbaeen, the position and along with the state of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Ashura is mentioned within Ziyarat Arbaeen. So this is a message for every Zair that when he goes, he needs to understand these maqamat, these qualities of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam when he is reciting the ziyarah. First of all, the first ayah or the first sentence of Ziyarat Arbaeen, it starts off with As-salamu ala waliyillah wa habibih. Peace and salutations be upon waliyillah. That Mawla Hussein alayhi salam in this ziyarah is being given the titles of the prophets, waliyillah wa habibih, and his beloved. As-salamu ala khalilillah. Peace and salutation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon Khalilillah. And as you know, that Khalilillah is one of the titles of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Wa najibih. And as-salamu ala safiyillah wa ibn safiyih. And peace and salutation be upon the chosen one of Allah and the son of the chosen. Now, these are the titles which Imam Hussain alayhi salam is being referred. And the difference between Ziyarat Arbaeen and the other ziyarah, for example, in Ziyarat Ashura, we say Assalamu alayka Ya Aba Abdullah. And as you're aware, that word Ya Aba Abdullah, the original word is Abu Abdullah, the father of the servant. So one interpretation is the father of the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the sacrifice of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam is so great, so unique, that he is now the father, the chief of all the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way Mullah Hussain alayhi salam gave the sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has been given the title, the chief and the father of all the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If anyone wants to learn how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he needs to follow the aswa of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. This is one dimension of Assalamu alayka Ya Aba Abdullah. The other meaning of Ya Aba Abdullah is that the greatest sacrifice from Mullah Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Ashura is which one? The sacrifice of Ali Asghar. Ali Asghar. Ali Asghar is the greatest sacrifice. He is, in the ulama have said that the sacrifice of Ali Asghar is regarded as Ayatul Kubra. It was the greatest proof of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam for Banu Umayyah to show that what his aim and objective was. And they say that like Naqatullah in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the she-camel, the Naqatullah was suqyaha. Ali Asghar is more greater than the sacrifice or the Naqa which the people of Thamud killed itself. If the adhab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came because they had killed the she-camel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the blood of Mullah Ali Asghar alayhi salam, if that had fallen upon the earth, there would have been the adhab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon mankind. Now in this ziyarat, we say Assalamu alayka. Now to understand Assalamu alayka waliyillah wa habibi, we need to first understand what does the word Assalam mean here. What does Assalam mean? That when we go to the presence of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, we start off with Assalamu ala waliyillah. What does this mean? This is the discussion maybe today, and inshallah for the next course of several days I will try to cover the other meanings, asirul qurabat, and then it says liyastanqidha ibadaka min hayrati dhalala. There are many other things which I'll try to cover. What does it mean that Imam Hussain alayhi salam in Ziyarat Arbaeen, he has taken people and provided salvation and have taken people out of ignorance. And then in also Ziyarat Arbaeen, it mentions that the enemies of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam have sold their faith for cheap money. What does this mean? Inshallah, this will refer, because these are the Imams alayhi salam have given a summary of all of the events of Karbala within Ziyarat Arbaeen. That when a Zair goes, he needs to remember the calamities of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam which have befallen upon him on the day of Ashura. Now, let me start off first of all, this salam, assalamu, and then we will say that, let me just put it on the screen for a few seconds so that you can understand what I'm trying to highlight. And then inshallah I will continue the discussion. So you see here, Assalamu ala waliyillah wa habibi. Assalamu ala khalilillah wa najibi. Assalamu ala safiyillah wa ibn safiy. Assalamu ala al-Husayn al-Mazlum al-Shahid. Assalamu ala asir al-Qurbat. This would asir al-Qurbat wa qatil al-Abarat. I will have one session on this as well. But today I'm going to start with Assalam. What is the meaning of Assalam upon Mullah Hussain alayhi salam? And when we go for the ziyarah, what is the importance of Assalam and what is the state we need to be so that the salam of ours reaches our Imams alayhimus salam? Now the meaning of Assalam, first of all. Assalam in the Arabic language, it means that being safe from al-ayub al-ayub wal-nawaqis al-zahiriyya wal-batiniyya. That when we say as-salam upon someone, as-salamu alayka, it is not only a greeting, but it is a dua upon the person in front of you. That may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you safe from all defects and shortcoming. This is as-salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is also as-salam. So when we say assalamu alayka, it is the name, the word as-salam is actually derived, and the Imams alayhi salam have mentioned as-salam is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and from which the greetings has been initiated in Islam itself. When we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as-salam, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you understand what is the meaning of Allah, then we can understand the as-salam when we send to the Imams. When we talk and refer the word as-salam to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means being free from all shortcomings, what the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. When a human being is in need of food, a human being in this world goes through shortcomings, difficulties, and all types of different tribulations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all of these defects which the creation is facing. As-salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is complete perfection itself. And when we say assalamu alayka to each other, we are doing that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greetings, salam, from defects and shortcomings be from your physical and internal existence itself. And also, the word as-salam is one of the names of Jannat as well. As-salam is one of the names of heaven as well. Why? Because within heaven there is no poverty. In heaven, there's only happiness. In heaven, there's only, sometimes a mu'min is dignified, and sometimes a mu'min in this dunya may be humiliated. But in heaven, as-salam, Darus Salam, one of the names of heaven is Darus Salam. In heaven, there's only salam, safety and tranquility and peace for the people who are living. They are safe and free from all types of errors. As-sihha bila marad. They will be in well-being, not suffering from any sickness. And the difference between as-salam and at-tahiyya, there are two things. Islam has initiated as-salam, that when you meet someone, you say assalamu alayka. The difference between at-tahiyya, the word at-tahiyyatu was salam. At-tahiyya in the Arabic language, which is the word in English, we use it or we interpret it as greetings. What is the difference between at-tahiyyatu was salam? You may say hi, doctor, or there's different weird ways of people saying greetings. What is the difference between at-tahiyya and as-salam? The word tahiyyatu in the Arabic language, it comes from the root word hayat. It comes from the root word hayat, meaning that you pray, you say or you pray to the person in front of you that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you life. This is at-tahiyya. But as-salam is more wider than this, that you are praying for the safety of his outer being from defects, shortcomings, and its internal being. And also, when you say assalamu alayka upon someone, you are testifying and giving shahadat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always keep you in this state of salama. This is as-salam. Now, when we go to our Imams alayhimus salam and say assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, what does this mean? Before I go to this, I want to recite there is a idhn al-dukhul, that when we say as-salam to the Imams alayhimus salam, this is a concept we need to be aware of that when we go to the Imams, we need to have this understanding in whose presence we are. This is from, I believe it was from Bihar Anwar I read. It says, A'lamu. This is a idhn al-dukhul for the ziyarat in general of the Imams alayhi salam. It says in that, وقفت على باب من بيت من بيوت نبيك. I am standing in front of one of the houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what do you say? Before you say the salah, this is giving you an understanding that when you go to the in front of a Zari of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam or the other Imams, you need to have presence of the understanding of the Mazur. Mazur is the person who you're visiting. You may remember that before 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Manzara Kabr al-Hussein Arifan bihaqqihi. Arifan bihaqqihi. One who visits Mawla Hussein alayhi salam, knowing, recognizing his position. That when you recite the ziyarah, you recognize his position. What is the position? What do you understand? What is the maqamat? And what is you trying to understand? Let me read for you. It says in this ziyarah, in Bihar Anwar, A'lamu anna rasulaka wa khulafa'aka ahya'un indakum yurzaqun. That when you're going to the ziyarah of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam and the Imams, you understand anna rasulaka, that your prophets wa khulafa'aka and the Khalifas, the Imams of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ahya'un, they are living. They are living indakum wa yurzaqun, that they are living at the place where they are, and yurzaqun, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing them rizq. What does this mean? Why am I mentioning this? When you go to the ziyarah, you need to understand the Imam you're visiting, he is alive, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing him rizq. وَيُرَوْنَ, then it say, I'll answer these questions. وَيُرَوْنَ مَكَانِ فِي وَقْتِ وَالزَّمَانِ. The Imam alayhi salam knows my position where I'm standing, and knows the time I am visiting, and knows وَيَسْمَعُونَ كَلَامِ وَيَسْمَعُونَ كَلَامِ, and they are hearing my conversation with the Imam alayhi salam. Let me mention another hadith which will make this even more clearer. In regards to Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, there's a hadith, Manzara Kabr al-Hussain, Manzara Kabr al-Hussain, whoever visits the grave of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, ka muhaddithi ma'allah. The word muhaddith has been used. The word haddatha, yuhaddithu, or the word hadith. The one who visits Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, it is as if he is speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the word muhaddith is a two-way conversation. So when we say Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, or Assalamu alayka ya Waliyullah, you are speaking to the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And وَيَسْمَعُونَ kalami, and every imam, when you go to the ziyarat, the Imam alayhi salam replies back to your salam. Because we are confined to our bodies, we are confined, our ruh is confined with our bodies, we are not able to hear the salam of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. If we are freed, relieved of our bodies, we will be able to hear the salam of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam responding to us when we're going to the ziyarat of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. The malaika, the jinn, and those urafa who have purified themselves and reached the level of maqamat of irfan and maqamat of ruhaniyat, they're able to see that whose salam Mullah Hussain alayhi salam is responding and how Mullah Hussain alayhi salam is responding. They are able to see the malaika, as many of our urafa are able to see the true maqamat of every mu'min itself. So this is something we need to understand, that there's a concept we have, get there, a cold salam and a warm salam. Sometimes we become in our normal life, if someone says there's a handshake and his face is towards someone else, Baba, is aadmi ne mujhe thanda salam diya. He has given me a cold salam. And when you give a warm salam, you get a warm response as well. This assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, assalamu alayka ya waliyullah, the more embedded with ma'rifat you say the salam upon Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, the more maqamat you will receive from Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. So assalamu alayka, going to say to the Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, when you say assalamu alayka, try to have the understanding, try to read about Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. There's a great saying by our ulama, they say, for whoever, man zad al ilmu, zad al ma'rifa. Man zad, whoever zad al ilmu, zad al ma'rifa. Whoever increases his understanding and knowledge of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, his love and his understanding of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam will increase. When this understanding and recognition of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam increases, the love for Mawla Hussain alayhi salam will increase, and the response of the jawab will be accordingly as well. And as I mentioned even before, that Imam Hussain alayhi salam ziyarat has an effect. You have a thawab, and also there is something else you receive is maqamat. Every good action you do, there's ajr. Ajr is promised for everything you do in the akhirah. But for Mawla Hussain alayhi salam ziyarat, there is maqamat which is received immediately in this dunya. And when we are saying this now, assalamu alayka, wa yasma'una kalami, they are hearing my conversation, wa yaraduna salami, and they are responding to my salams. وَأَنَّكَ حَجَبْتَ عَنْ سَمْعِ كَلَامَهُمْ. However, this is from Bihar. However, there is a hijab in front of us, which is the hijab of our body, which is preventing to be able to hear the jawab from the Imam alayhi salam. Let me mention now another hadith. How does the Imam alayhi salam respond? How does he know who is coming to his ziyarat? This is a beautiful hadith which has been mentioned in our books. This hadith is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. It is absolutely amazing that what is the maqam when a person goes to the ziyarat of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, and when he recites as-salam, the salam, as I said, there is a cold salam and there is a warm salam. And I will explain this shortly. Let me read this hadith and I'll join this cold salam and warm salam together with this hadith. Imam Hussain alayhi salam says to his zair, says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, before we read this hadith, this is a preliminary, that Ya Allah, I have fulfilled now the shahadat of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam in Karbala was the mansha, the will. Allah wished, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished something to happen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, before we was created, there was a ahad between Mawla Hussain alayhi salam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for with regards to his sacrifice. Allah, we do not know what was the ahad, but Allah, Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this hadith that Ya Allah, I have fulfilled my promise of shahadat, and I have embedded and I have engraved the kalama La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah with my own blessed and holy blood. This is what Mawla Hussain alayhi salam did. The Anbiya alayhi salam were not able to do what Mawla Hussain alayhi salam did in Karbala. The sacrifice of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is more greater than any sacrifice in the history of mankind. And Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is given the greatest of all positions. As Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says in a hadith, that if you want to see the most beloved creation and the most beloved person in this dunya, it is Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is the most beloved personality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala due to the sacrifice of Karbala. Now this hadith, it is a great hadith. It's from the companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. It says, Yabna Bukair, Inna al-Hussein. Now this is, when we go for the Ziyarat of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, have this vision. Where is Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, and with whom Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is with? It says, Ya Bukair, this is a companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Ya Bukair, ma a'zamu masailaka. Inna al-Hussein ma'a abihi wa ummihi wa akhihi fi manzili Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. First of all, when we're saying Assalamu alayka, you need to understand the person, the great personality in front of you, with whom he is accompanied with. In this hadith, it says, Mullah Hussein alayhi salam ma'a abihi, is with his father. Wa ummihi, and his mother. When we go to Karbala, when we go to the Haram of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam and say Assalam, have this vision. Mullah Hussein, Imam Ali, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, Salamullah alayha, wa akhi Imam Hassan alayhi salam, fi manzil Rasulullah, are in the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and are observing the Za'irin of Karbala. And then it says, وَمَعَهُ يُرْزَقُونَ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing them rizq, is providing them sustenance. And then it says, وَيَمِينُ الْأَرْشِ مُتَعَلِّقٌ بِهِ, and these nur of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are clinged onto the arsh, the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then وأنه Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, وأنه Mullah Hussein alayhi salam لينظر, نظر ينظر لينظر, he is looking إلى زواره, he's looking at the Za'irin of Mullah, he's looking at his own Za'ir, Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. The word Zawari, all of his Zawari, Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is having a observation and is observing. This is something we need to be aware of, the etiquettes. And the person who we are visiting, he is hadir, he is present. Ila zuwarihi, وَأَنَّهُ, then it says, وَأَنَّهُ أَعْرِفُ بِهِمْ وَبِأَسْمَائِهِمْ, وَأَنَّهُ أَعْرِفُ أو أَعْرَفَ, and he is aware بِهِمْ, of the Zawar, بِأَسْمَائِهِمْ, he knows Muhammad is visiting, he knows that Hussein is visiting, he knows that Fatima is visiting, he knows that Abdullah from Canada is visiting, he knows that Rahim from London is visiting, he knows every person bi asma'ihim. It is not like we go to a gathering that we say Assalamu alayka or Assalamu alayka and no one knows. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is unique, that every person who is visiting, he knows their names, not only their names, bi asma'i wa asma'i asma abaihim, and even the names of their fathers. وَمَا فِي رِحَالِهِمْ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمْ بِوَلَدِهِ, and he even knows how you have traveled to Karbala. وَأَنَّهُ لِيَنْظُرَ إِلَى مَنْ, and look at this. When we go for the Ziyarat of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, when we are saying Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah or Assalamu alayka ya Waliyullah, there is a state of grief which should befall us. And this is what this ziyarat is mentioning. It's in this hadith. It says, وَأَنَّهُ لِيَنْظُرَ إِلَى مَنْ, to who? He is looking towards إِلَى مَنْ يَبْقِيهِ, to who is crying for him. فَيَسْتَغْفِرُ لَهُ. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, what does he do then? He seeks forgiveness for him. So meaning, my brothers and our sisters, that when we say As-salam upon Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, it is not only that we are doing dua upon Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, we are also, it is a means, this dua upon As-salam, it is a dua upon Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, and it is also a dua for us that we can remain steadfast with and on the path of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. Al-thabatu al-qadam ma'al Hussein. This as-salam has a different dimension, a broader dimension when we say as-salam upon Mullah Hussein alayhi salam on Ziyarat Arbaeen. Because Ziyarat Arbaeen is what? Alamatul Mu'min. Inshallah, maybe another session, I will discuss this, why Mullah Hussain alayhi salam's ziyarat is regarded as Alamatul Mu'min, and those some people amongst our community, there are some people who say Allah Ziyarat Arbaeen, it's not Alamatul Mu'min. I will answer that as well, another session, inshallah. But remember, this is Alamatul Mu'min. This is a hadith which is authentic, and this is something which the ulama have mentioned. Great ulama, I'm not talking ordinary ulama, great ulama have mentioned that the Ziyarat Arbaeen itself, it is one of the ma'ajis of Mullah Hussain, miracles of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. It's one of the miracles of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. How can we have a person who has been martyred 1400 years and 22 million people turn up for Arbaeen itself? This is one of the karamat, majesties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. Fadhkuruni adhkurkum. Mullah Hussain alayhi salam remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken it upon himself to preserve the dhikr of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam until the day of judgment. Dhikrul Hussain, dhikrullah. How can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forget Mullah Hussain alayhi salam? Have we not read the hadith? What did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said? Hussainu minni. Hussain is from me. But from the day of the shahadat and the martyrdom of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is not recognized by himself, but now he is being introduced by his son Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. Whoever wants to know Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is going to be recognized from Karbala. Hussainu minni wa ana min al-Hussain. I am from Hussain. Going to Karbala is the means of recognizing the true Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after Karbala is being recognized from his grandson Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. Let's come back. What does this hadith say? Then it says, ila man yabqihi. Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, when the Zair goes and says, Assalamu alayka ya waliyullah, Mullah Hussain alayhi salam will recognize him. And the more presence of heart. So, the cold salam and warm salam. What is the definition of this in Islamic terms? As-salam, the warm salam, as-salamu har, hot salam, it is as-salam bil qalb, being that you say the salam truly from your heart. And when it comes from the heart, the response will be also in accordance to that. As we know that if you've been saluted with salam, respond to it or respond better to it. We are going, and this is a living imam. This dunya is a temporary thing. We are this dunya to the next world. It is a transition, nothing else. The person who is martyred, he is alive, living. He knows what is happening to him, in his presence. And he will seek forgiveness for his zair. Now, when you go to the Ziyarat Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, remember this now. This is what I am going to mention, which is absolutely amazing, that how great our imams are. وَيَسْأَلُ Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, what does he do then? وَيَسْأَلُ أَبَاهُ الْإِسْتِغْفَارُ لَهُ. This sinner, this person who has been blessed with a ziyarat and who is carrying the weight of his sins, when he goes to the zari of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, Mullah Hussain alayhi salam asks forgiveness for his zair and also request Mullah Ali alayhi salam. It says, وَيَسْأَلُ أَبَاهُ وَيَسْأَلُ أَبَاهُ. He asked his father al-istighfaru lahu. Allahu Akbar. What is the maqam of the zair of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam? That two ma'soom are doing dua for the zair of Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. One himself, one his baba. وَيَسْأَلُ الْإِسْتِغْفَارُ لَهُ وَيَقُولُ. And he would say, أَيُّهَا الْبَاقِي أَيُّهَا الْبَاقِي. O you who is crying. Now, the word أَيُّهَا الْبَاقِي, O who is crying, it does not matter whether you shed one teardrop or whether your ear, or of course there is 3 maqamat. Maybe another time I'll mention it. There's a book called Khasais al-Husayniyah. It's a great book. Every Shia should have this. Every Mawali, the lover of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, should have 2 books. One is Kamil Ziyarat, and the other book is Al-Khasais al-Husayniyah. These two books are one of the greatest books on Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Khasais al-Husayniyah, in that it talks about there are 3 different levels in shedding tears. And you may shed tear at 1 teardrop. This is one state of crying upon Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. And the other state of crying upon Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is crying teardrops, and you have tear rolling on your cheeks itself. This is a different maqamat. And there's one that you make a face like a face of a person who is crying. You're not pretending. No, you're making a... This is a wrong interpretation, which some people have mentioned, that pretend. No, you make a face that because you're not able to cry, you're not doing riyah, you're not showing off to people that I am crying. No, you are making a face that you can receive the reward of a person who's crying. Riyakari, showing off, that is haram. But tabaka, which is meaning to make your face that you want to cry, but you're not able to cry, you are feeling the grief, but tears are not coming, so you make a face. This is not riyah. Ayyuhal baqi, law alimta. Now, Mawla Hussain alayhi salam says, Ayyuhal baqi, oh you who is crying. Doesn't matter how you're crying, whether you are crying 1 teardrop or the flow. This is the generosity in the place, in the haram of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Whoever comes, Ayyuhal baqi, they will receive the rewards from Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Ayyuhal baqi, law alimta. Look at this, O Zair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a tawfiq collectively. We all can go for the Ziyarat Arbaeen and Ziyarat Arafat and the Ziyarat on the day of the Wiladat Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. These are 3 maqamat and Nima Shaban. May Allah be blessed with it, because these maqamat are makhsus, and you will receive special gifts from Mawla Hussain alayhi salam if you go on these special makhsus days. It says, Ayyuhal baqi, oh the person who is crying. Law alimta, alima ya'lamu, law alimta, if you knew, ma a'addallah laka, if you knew what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared laka, for you, la farahta, lam ta'kid in past tense, la farahta akthara mimma hazinta. You will be more, if you were aware, if the hijabat from our eyes were removed, and see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for you, you will be more happier than the state of grief you are in. It says, Ma a'dallah laka, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for you, la farihta akthar, you'll be more happier, la farihta akthar mimma hazinta, from what you are sad, stricken by grief when you're visiting Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Now, being in the state of grief and sadness is a sign that your ziyarat is qabul, because the zari of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is the maqam awliya. Zari of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam is maqam al-awliya. Even the anbiya seek permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to visit the shrine of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, so that they can receive maqamat and they can receive gifts, so that their position can be elevated. It says in ahadith that even the anbiya will envy the station of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam on the day of judgment itself. Allahu Akbar. And this is no mubalagha. We go to Ziyarat Waritha, Assalamu alayki ya Waritha Adam Asifullah, Assalamu alayki ya Waritha Ibrahim Khalilillah. We say this. He is the heir of all of the prophets. In other words, you can say all of the efforts of 124,000 prophets, all of the hard is embedded within the sacrifice of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein alayhi salam's sacrifice is more weightier than all of the sacrifice of all of the prophets itself. And then it says, وَأَنَّهُ لِيَسْتَغْفِرَ لَهُ مِنْ كُلِّ ذَنْبٍ وَكُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam will seek forgiveness for all of your sins you have committed. And then also, even in regards to a normal person, even when a normal person dies, I'll read this hadith and I'll probably end on this and inshallah continue the next session. Even a normal person, when a person is, this is for you to understand that when we're going to Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, you need to be in a state of grief when you say Assalamu alaikum, state of presence of your heart itself. And when you say this, there is a malaika, inshallah I'll mention this next time, there's a malaika called Mansur. Al-Mansur is the malaika which is appointed in the haram of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, who is the chief commander or the commissioner of all of the malaika. And he prays for the Za'irin of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. And even when Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamul alayha is present in the haram of Mullah Hussein, she also does istighfar for the Za'irin of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, but also says, it mentioned in the ahadith in Bihar that even Sayyidah Fatima, this is to make you understand that Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, when she is the haram of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, she does not do dua yes, she does dua herself, but she also requests the malaika which are appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do dua for the Za'irin of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. This is the maqam of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam that Sayyidah Fatima Zahra is trying to highlight, by that I am Sayyidatun Nisa'il Alameen, but Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is also Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is one of, as I mentioned in ahadith, in that anna dama, that the blood of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is one of the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when the blood of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam was taken to the seven heavens, وَقْشَعَرَّتْ أَذِلَّةُ الْأَرْشِ, the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trembled due to the majesty and the weight, the dignity and the position of the blood of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. Coming to this hadith, I'll end on this. إِنَّ الْأَبْدَ إِذَا وُضِعَ فِي قَبْرِهِ. This is an ordinary person, let alone the station of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. إِنَّ الْأَبْدَ إِذَا وُضِعَ فِي قَبْرِهِ. Indeed, when a servant is put, وُضِعَ وَضَعَ يَضَعُ وُضِعَ فِي قَبْرِهِ, when he is put فِي قَبْرِهِ وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُ, and when his relatives leave him, وَأَصْحَابُهُ, and his friends, وَإِنَّهُ, this is a normal servant. When he dies, what can he hear? It's not the end. وَأَنَّهُ يَسْمَعْ قَرْءَ نِعَالِهِ إِذَا إِنْصَرَفُ أَتَاهُ مَلَكَانِ. It says that when a normal person dies, a Muslim dies, when his relatives and friends leave, he is also able to hear, and to the extent the qara means the knocking of their shoes, the moving of their shoes, the noise of the shoes, he is able to hear that. Ida in Sarah, and when they go, then the two angels come, meaning that we, the Shias, we have this concept, talqeen, isma ifham. In regards to a normal person, we say talqeen, isma ifham. Isma means hear, ifham understand. This is with regards to a normal person. What is the position of our Imams alayhimus salam, who are our chiefs, who are our mawlas, who are our masters, for whom all of the creation has been created. Creation is not created for us. Yes, we have been created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the true purpose is to recognize the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. They are the ultimate aim of creation, and we are the means of recognizing that they are the true servants, and we are following their footsteps so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be worshipped. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq of understanding the ziyarat. The ziyarat itself is a great position, and inshallah I will continue to maybe maybe tomorrow, inshallah, or Sunday. The next, what does it mean? Assalamu alayka waliyillah, and why? Inshallah, the next step will be why the word assalam, alif lam, assalamu ala waliyillah. And in the Quran, in the Quran, in the Quran, in regard to prophets, there has been used salamun ala ali yasin. The word salamun and assalamu. What is the difference between salamun and assalamu? Inshallah, that's the next topic. And inshallah, I will try to include within that the concept of waliillah and the concept of najibillah. And inshallah, I will also try to answer other concepts as well, inshallah. So there are about 8-9 topics. Each topic requires a session to itself so that you can understand the depth of Ziyarat Arbaeen, that when we go for the Ziyarat Arbaeen, we have this understanding. And the better understanding we have of our Mawla and Aka, the better and more maqamat you'll be blessed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the barakah of the Ziyarat Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil.
The same time tomorrow?
Inshallah, I'll try, Doctor. Yes, Doctor.
Same time tomorrow?
Yes, inshallah, I'll try to at the same time tomorrow. I will talk about it because I am doing this so that you can, I am doing this for my love for Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, so that you can share, I can share the love embedded within me with you, so that we can go together to the Ziyarat of Arbaeen and shed our tears. This pursa, this pursa and buqa and ghiriya which we do on Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, this is the means of coolness, as it says in the dua of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. This is the means of rahmat, a means of tasalli, condolences to the heart of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamu alayhi.
Beshak.
On the day of judgment, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamu alayha will scream. Due to the scream of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, all of the malaika in the heavens and earth will be screaming due to the azama and the scream of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamu alayha. We are chosen. We Shias are chosen. We have been created from, again, this is another topic. I will end on this. We Shias have been created from the same DNA of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. This is the reason why. As Imams alayhimus salam says, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Rada alayhi salam says, Nahnu أورثنا الكرب والبعد نحن أورثنا الكرب والبلاء بعد انقضاء الحسين عليه السلام. That the Ahlul Bayt, Imams alayhimus salam, at the highest level have been the bearers, the bearers of the calamity and the grief of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam is the true bearer of this hadith itself, and we the Shias are the secondary bearers of the hadith of grieving for Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Because there's a ziyarat, I'll talk about this another time, that it says in the ziyarat al-Mufaja'ah that every heart of every Shia is the qabr of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Every heart. You know the hadith we read, Inna liqatl al-Husayn hararatun fi qulubil mu'minin la tabrudu abada. Where does this come from? Why was this better? Because we have been chosen, like the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. We have been chosen, and we said, Mawla alayhi man kuntu mawla, in before creation. We have been chosen, and like that, we have also been chosen for the wilayat and the love of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. Two unique personalities, their wila and their love and their promise is something which is heavily. This is a heavily ni'mat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. This is a ni'mat la tuhsuha. You cannot count the bounties and the blessing of the love of Mawla Hussain and the love of Mawla Ali alayhi salam. Inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inshallah, I hope there was some benefit and some enlightenment for your heart, that when we see as-salam upon Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, we have this ma'rifat of Mawla Hussain alayhi salam. He is living and he is responding to our salam, and inshallah we can receive the maqamat with Mawla Hussain alayhi salam, inshallah.
Is that time for any questions?
Yes, Bismillah, sister. I'm more than at your service.
Okay. So, you know, when you said that when we go visit and Imam Hussein
Yes.
prays for us. So before the day of Ashura really happened,
Yes.
did the people not recognize the amount of blessings that surrounded Imam Hussein? Was there a veil in front of them as well? Like there is a veil in front of us. We can't see them, but they can see us. Was it like that during that time as well?
That is a beautiful question, sister. May Allah reward you for the question you have asked. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam is so great that his existence, and like, let me start from here. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's existence and body came from the heavens to the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of this universe was blessed with a barakah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Similarly is the case of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. Mawla Hussein alayhi salam, when he was born, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentions the blessings and the maqamat of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam at the birth. The coming of Mawla Hussein alayhi salam was the coming of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this universe. Mawla Hussein alayhi salam events and his maqam, even the enemies knew. Inshallah, even Umar ibn Sa'ad, Mullah Hussein alayhi salam says to Umar ibn Sa'ad, why are you killing? Do you not know that I am the son of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? Do you not know my mother is Sayyidah Fatima Zahra? Do you not know that my father is Mullah Ali alayhi salam? Do you not know I am the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? Umar ibn Sa'ad says, yes, I know this. The enemies knew the position of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, but as Ziyarat Arbaeen mentioned, this is something, the question you have answered, the answer is embedded in Ziyarat Arbaeen. What had happened upon them is that the love of dunya, the love of wealth, the love of this position of this dunya had made them blind of everything, and this is why they were the biggest criminal, and they have committed the greatest crime on this planet in killing Mullah Hussein alayhi salam. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam said, you want Ray, you want the governorship of Ray, you will not get that. You're doing it for that, you will not receive that. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam was, unfortunately our members don't mention the maqtal in that way. Mullah Hussein alayhi salam mentions a complete 15, 20, 25 maqamat. He introduces himself even on the day of Ashura, that do you not know who I am? Do you not know what is my position? Do you not know that the amama upon my head? Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, it was the merciful. Even he, on the day of Ashura, Mullah Hussein alayhi salam had sympathy for the enemies, not knowing that what they are doing itself. And the enemies were the most, and even in ahadith is mentioned that every sin which a person can do in this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is willing to forgive, except the person who is, listen to this carefully, those who have prepared Karbala, listen to those who have prepared Karbala, those who attacked the house of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha, those who have murdered Sayyidah Fatima Zahra are the people who have prepared Karbala. Upon them is the la'an of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon them is the chastisement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no forgiveness for them. This is mentioned in ahadith. And these people knew the position of Mullah Hussein alayhi salam due to the animosity, due to the hatred of the Ali Muhammad, with the position they have committed the greatest crime. And even the animals, sister, even the animals which participated on the day of Ashura, they were the most evilest animals on this planet, because it is mentioned in Imam Hadi alayhi salam that the home of Bani Fatima Zahra, the children, this is a sign of a Sayyid, that the flesh of the Saadat is haram upon the praying animals. And these animals went against their fitrah. Why? Because I was reading today that these animals were the worst of animals, and there is no doubt even the animals on the day of judgment will be sent to hell, because animals, as you're aware, that animals can develop the trait of their owner. And the animals of the day of Ashura, and maybe another time I'll talk about in Bihar, that it says about the dogs, that these people were worse than dogs and pigs. Why? Because these animals were worse than dogs and pigs. But how, I'll explain that later. But let me mention that these animals which participate in Karbala, they came from, do you know that they came from Sham? These animals, like La'natullah Muawiyah, prepared people to curse Mullah Hussein alayhi salam, Mullah Ali alayhi salam, and Ali Muhammad. These animals were also prepared in the hatred of Mullah Hussein and Imam Ali alayhi salam. The food which was given to them was given haram food, and the people who were looking after them were the enemies of Ali Muhammad. And this is the reason why they had crushed. It says in the Maqtal that Mullah Hussein alayhi salam's body was crushed under the hooves of the horse itself. Why? Because they were the devilest of all animals itself. Inshallah, I hope that answers your question, sister, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So there's many things about Karbala that store the secrets of Karbala, the events of Karbala. It's still in the books. And why I'm teaching Arabic, it's for you. And if anyone wants any of the narrations which I mentioned, to message me and I'll send you the narrations, because this is the only reason why I'm teaching Arabic, so that you can read the Maqtal yourself and you can then weep and cry